this is Taylor. Momo is currently studying for her permit test. Everybody wish Momo good luck. Um, but yeah, so sorry we've been so bad about posting videos. We've just both been busy with work and school. Um, I've have my internship going on this summer, so yeah, been pretty busy. But anyway, I am gonna talk about my unaccepting family members when it comes to my experience in the LGBTQ plus community. So, when I first came out, you know, mm, pretty much everybody in my family said they were okay with it. I got like an aunt who told me not to tell my baby cousins because she thought it would confuse them. And at the time, they were like in middle school, so I was like, how is me liking girls and having a girlfriend going to confuse them? But whatever. Um, and then they eventually found out because I wore a promise ring to my cousin's wedding from my girlfriend that I had at that time, and they were like, "Oh my god, what's that?" And I had to explain to them what it was. Anyway, so basically, as time went on, I realized my dad, um, he could be accepting sometimes, but not at others. My mom pretty much wasn't accepting until I started dating Momo. Then all of a sudden she was like all aboard the train. Um, I had one cousin who was accepting the whole time, and now he's married and his wife is accepting, and they have a baby girl. And I actually got her a book called The Gay BCs that explains the whole LGBTQ community to her through the alphabet. But basically, my cousin, he's always been accepting, and it's really funny actually how long he's been accepting. And I should have known he would have been the best person to come out to, because when I was in 8th grade, I got called gay on the bus, and at the time, I was questioning if I was, but like I was too afraid to like say to anybody like, "Oh, I might think I like girls," blah 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 blah. So, but a girl on the bus called me gay because I had a best friend that was a girl, like, but I was friends with mostly guys, and basically, I was so upset, and basically the following day I had a sleepover planned at my aunt, uncle, Grammy's, and cousin's house. And so I say to his sister what happened, because at the time I was closer with his sister. And his sister, who actually had a gay best friend, she goes to me, she goes, "Well, you're not gay, are you?" And I felt so much pressure because everybody wanted me to be like the mini version of her, to say no. And so I said no. And she goes, "Well, then why are you letting it bother you?" So then I needed help with a social studies project. So I went to him for help because me and him were the two nerds in the family. We're so good at history, science, math, all the major subjects. So I go to him and, for help with my project, and I tell him what happens. I was 13, he was 23, and he told me that it didn't matter who I dated, he would love me and interrogate them the same way, no matter who it was, boy or girl. And that like really stuck with me, like all throughout my life, that like he would love me and like treat me the same, and like treat whoever I dated the same, no matter what their gender was. And so I'm really lucky to have him as part of my life and know I can always go to him. And literally when I came out, he started giving me girl advice. He's like, "Okay, here we go, like this is all the advice you need." And it's really great I have him as part of my life. And when it comes to my other cousins, my two older cousins that are girls, they can be really disrespectful. It's kind of harder that one of them is more disrespectful than the other, just because one of my oldest girl cousin, she was always a bully, so like I'm just used to it. But like my other older cousin, me and her used to be super close, and it was like me being gay like changed all that, and that was kind of hard. And actually tried to have a conversation with her about it, but everybody was like, no, you cannot have a conversation with her about it because she's pregnant and has diabetes. And so they're kind of like blocking me from having the conversation with her about it. And so because we did not have that conversation, it eventually blew up into this big thing. And it kind of taught me, like, it kind of made me have this revelation about how the family dynamics work and everything, which I will get into. And then I don't think any of my super young baby cousins know. But like my older baby cousins that have been around since I was like 8 and 9 years old, they know. And at first, they didn't really care, but as the adults in the family started making it a bigger deal, as like it was bad, they started to care more, make like drama out of it. And now that they're like in their young adult years, I don't really speak to them because of it. And I don't speak to my 2 female older cousins, and I don't speak to my aunts and uncles because of the drama that they would make out of it, and because of their negative views on homosexuality, and also because I have an aunt who's a special ed teacher, and she would always say to me like that I had Down syndrome and all this other stuff when I don't have it. And I have family members that also say ableist comments. I have family members say racist comments, and I just decided I don't want my kids around that. And then my Grammy, they say that your grandparent's always the patriarch of the family. My Grammy, and these are all family members on my dad's side. My Grammy, she saw how I was like cutting off members of my family, which is what my dad did. When he was around my age, he decided to walk out of the family. And the only reason he came back is because my mom was pregnant with me and forced him to. But my Grammy saw I was doing that and had an honest conversation with me. Because at first she was trying to force me to talk to everybody. And I was like, no. Like, that's not going to happen. I was like, I'm only going to talk to the people who are accepting. And so my Grammy decided to drop her religious views. She decided, you know what, like, instead of saying that, like, my religion, like, says this is wrong and blah, 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 blah. She goes, you're my grandchild. I love you more than anything. Like, I want to learn about it and better understand you. And so she has a little post-it in her apartment that tells her what LGBTQ stands for. And then whenever there's like a story about the LGBTQ plus community, she like will clip it out of the newspaper, and then she will tell me whenever I'm like on the phone with her, go to visit her. And it's kind of sweet actually, like knowing that she wants to learn. And she's in her 80s, so if somebody in their 80s can try to change their views and learn about the community when they've been like a devout Catholic Christian person for so long, I think that says a lot. But yeah, pretty much the only people on my dad's side of the family I talk to besides my dad are my cousin, his wife, their baby girl, and my Grammy. I don't talk to any of my aunts and uncles. I don't talk to my 2 female older cousins or any of my baby cousins besides my 1 cousin's daughter. Like, because of their views that are homophobic, racist, and ableism. It's just really sad actually. But I had to do it for me because they would just cause constant drama, and I don't want to bring Momo into that environment. I don't want to bring our future kids into that environment. And it was taking a toll on my mental health. I was getting anxiety, social anxiety, complex trauma, PTSD, like all these things from being in that environment all these years. And it just like wasn't okay. So yeah, but luckily my mom's dad, who I thought was going to have a hard time with it because he was in his 90s when I came out, he actually was totally cool with it. So he was in the nursing home when I got my first girlfriend and had dementia. And for anybody who doesn't know about dementia, it's when there's mini strokes happening in the brain. So like one stroke can make them go out of it, but then they have another mini stroke and it'll make them like snap right back to like reality, pretty much is a way to put it. And so basically, I made sure he was lucid when I told him, and we went to go visit him. Me and my now ex-girlfriend went to go visit him, and I told him, and he literally said to me, he goes, I accept you, I don't care what you do as long as you're not in jail doing drugs or dancing on a stripper pole. He's like, perfectly fine, whoever you date. And like, I thought that was great, like how he's in his 90s and is like perfectly fine with that. Like, I honestly think it's great that there are people who are older and accepting, but yet we can't get people who are so ingrained in their religious beliefs or other forms of beliefs to accept it. So yeah, that is my experience with unaccepting family members in multiple ways, in LGBTQ plus community, with ableism, with racist comments. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can drop it into the chat and I will try to answer them in another video if you guys want. Thanks, bye. Oh, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah, do all that. Bye, guys.